Hello, my answer seekers, and welcome to the Divine Answers podcast, where I invite special spiritual human to share insight and the answers you're searching for. My name is Elle, aka Valithera, and I'm a clairvoyant and host of this podcast. Today, I invited Annie, a holistic wellness enthusiast, a Reiki master, and truth seeker. So, welcome. And I would say let's begin this episode with the question, who are you and what is it that you do?
Hi, everyone who is listening. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction. I think you briefly mentioned who am I and, what is it that I do. So, my name's Annie, and I'm a holistic wellness enthusiast, a Reiki master, and a truth seeker. And when someone asks me, what is it that I do? Um, I love to answer that I'm here to awaken the healer within, for the self-led women who are here who are ready to break free from fear, activate their purpose, and create wealth through transformation, truth, and align action.
Wow, this is beautiful. Ah, yeah, so I wrote down a couple questions to provide the most value for you guys. So we're going to start with how did you discover holistic wellness for yourself?
So I think it came to me. I didn't go look for it. So I think go back to 2020, that was when I suffered from chronic insomnia, illnesses, and depression without even like knowing. Um, we all know that, COVID happened around 2020 and we all went to lockdown. Um, but then I was still, surrounded by my family. I got into meditation because, I couldn't sleep. So I thought maybe I should try to meditate to like calm my mind. And then that was when the whole world of spirituality, mindfulness, and spirit guides and all the woo-woo stuff like came to my life. And, even though my logical mind at the time was like, well, like this is woo woo, this is unusual, but there's something within me was really drawn to it. It was like a remembrance. It was not something that I discovered, but something to remember. And so I tried, all the mindfulness trends and tips and tricks just to be able to sleep. But then, regardless of what I tried, I meditated every day. I exercised every day. I went out in nature every day. I was surrounded by my family all the time. I was not stressed or anything financially, even though I was in lockdown. And so that was when I realized that there was something deeper than this physical world, because regardless of what I tried to do externally, something within me was still really unfulfilled and really empty, and I still couldn't sleep. And so one day I came across this lady who was a Reiki healer online. I never saw her face, but something about her service, something about the messages that she posted on Instagram, I was really drawn to it. And without even like thinking too much, I reached out to her and then I was like, okay, I don't know what is it that you do, but I'm like I couldn't sleep for such a long time now. It's been 5 months. I don't know if this can help me, but I've tried everything. So can you give me more information? And I decided to do a session with her. And after 1 hour of session with her, without talking, without being on a video call, I was able to sleep for 5 hours after 8 months or 5 months of not being able to sleep. And that was when I got really interested in um energy healing. And at the time, I still didn't even know what holistic health was. I was just really drawn to, health and energy healing and healing myself and stuff like that. But then fast forward to, I think 3 years after that, I got various like leadership roles in a retail job. And even though I had the financial abundance, I had the title, I had everything that I thought a successful like person would have, I still found myself feeling so unfulfilled. And then one day I just sat down with myself and I asked myself, am I doing something that aligns with my highest purpose? And then holistic health came to my mind out of nowhere, like so randomly, without even knowing what holistic health was. It was just 2 years ago, even though maybe everything that I was practicing before that, it was already a form of holistic health and holistic healing. But because I didn't come from a health background, I didn't have people around me who were in that sort of field. So I didn't get a sense of like forming it into holistic health until I sat down with myself and really asked myself, what is it that I can do that aligns me with my highest purpose? And that's when holistic health came to my mind.
That's great. Now, talking so much about holistic health already and holistic wellness, how would you describe it to someone who's never heard of it before?
I'm gonna make it super simple. So holistic health to me, um, it's a concept of treating your mind, body, and soul as one instead of individually. So, for example, um, when we talk about health, people would mainly, like think about nutrition or body or like having a great body or exercising. But then, if you're exercising every day or consistently, even if you have the best nutrition, but if you don't deal with what is it that's going on in your mind, if you talk to yourself so negatively or other people so negatively, if you doubt yourself, if you don't deal with the trauma or the um, past wounds that you have within your family, you're not healthy. So that's what holistic health means to me. It's to look at your mind, body, and soul as one.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like that's the thing so many people are, especially these days, awakening to, and just looking at this, well, this construct more or less, construct, looking at this construct of mind, body, and soul as one. And
Mm,
I feel like that was also when I realized how many like illnesses or like sickness in general comes from the mind actually, because that was the moment when I learned of holistic wellness. Or like, well, I grew up with holistic health from my mother's side because she's very much into homeopathy and like natural remedies. So I already had that like in my mind that that's an option. And I always
mm,
like that for myself because I like to listen to my body. So I learned this from a very young age. And when I grew older, like fairly enough, since you talked about the lockdown in like 2020, um, that was, I feel like that was also the time where I realized that most of my body issues that I dealt with at that time came from my mind and especially my nervous system being like out of balance. So that's also the point when I learned like deeper meditations and reprogramming my mind, especially with EFT tapping. I mean, that came like 3 years later. I figured that stuff out in 2023. But that was for me the beginning point of actually getting deeper into it and being, well, more open and more interested in that. And just as with you, it was for me a calling. Like I couldn't get away from it. Even though I talked about this in the first video on my channel. Like I had very bad experiences with spirituality due to a flatmate I lived with for a while. And so after that, I was like, nope, no spirituality for me in any way anymore. That's all woo-woo. I don't get it. You know, it's like dangerous at that time. Um, so, but I couldn't stop that. You know, it's like that there was always that curiosity. I wanted to learn about it. I wanted to understand it, you know. And yeah, today I do. And now I just love to create that opportunity to be able to talk to people like you and to have this exchange and to share the insight we got over the
Mhm.
years. So the next question is, what was the moment you felt this calling for your business? And do you have a path that led you there by coincidence?
I love this question. As I mentioned, I was really drawn to energy healing back in 2020. I actually got certified in 3 levels of Reiki. And then I still remember I was really excited after I got my certification. I remember the book that I studied Reiki with, like I actually took so much notes, maybe even more than what I used to do back in uni. And it just showed how much I was really excited about it and I was really drawn to it. And I actually thought of becoming a Reiki healer full time because I thought to myself, everything um, from what I learned with Reiki, everything, like every illnesses, every trauma, every wound starts from an energetic level. And, not everyone understands that concept. And let's say when they get like physical symptoms, they go to get like medication to treat that symptom, but it's just a band-aid solution. It doesn't get to the root cause of the problems, which is their energetic body. And I thought, when you are wounded on your skin, on your body, you know how to treat it. But when you are wounded in your soul, not so many people know about it. So that's why I felt really called to spread Reiki out to more people out there. Um, but then, my circle at the time thought that I was too woo-woo, and they told me to go and find a normal job when lockdown was lifted. They told me you should go get another like a normal job, it's not gonna like make you go anywhere. It's not gonna help with anything. And you bet I did believe in them because I didn't know how to believe in my intuition or my calling, um, or my inner guidance or wisdom, because I was that first person in my family and in my friend circle who got to experience something like that. So I had no one to lean onto when I wanted to go deeper. And so 2021 to 2023, I was working multiple roles in retail. And as I said, I had the salary, I had the title, um, I had the expensive gifts, I had everything I needed, or yeah, everything I thought I needed until I realized that it didn't fulfill me at all. Like I was still feeling so empty inside. I felt resentful. I felt like my health was out of whack in so many ways, even though externally I looked like I had everything. And um just when I sat down with myself and heard that calling again, something to do with holistic health. And I still didn't know how I could go there because I didn't come from a health background, right? Um, I had an interior architecture degree back in uni, and when I was still in Australia, I did multiple jobs, but then nothing related to health. And then I remember I was at the gym, I think, and then I was just doing my set, and then like something came into my mind again, just like downloads. And I remember I took my phone out. I was typing out, I want to be my own boss. I want to help people on a deep and meaningful level. I want to travel the world. I want to make an income while creating an impact. Um, I want to be surrounded by um, like-minded and uplifting and positive people who want to see me succeed and grow with me and evolve with me. I was just like noting down like all the everything that came into my mind without thinking too much. And in 2023, at the start of 2023, I asked for 5 weeks off of work and then came back to Vietnam and then traveled around Southeast Asia with my family. And I remember I was standing in front of the beach, such a beautiful beach. And then I asked myself, how could I create a life where I don't need to take a vacation from? I don't want to go back to work and do 40 plus hours per week or 40 plus weeks just to have a few weeks off per year. I want every day to be my vacation. I want to wake up, design my days. I want to wake up without an alarm, but how can I do it? So I kept my curiosity open. When I got back to Australia, I boldly quit my job before figuring out what I wanted to do next. I knew I wanted to help people, right? I knew I wanted to be my own boss. I knew I was really interested in becoming a Reiki healer full time, but I'm also very multi-passionate as well. Like I'm passionate about Reiki, spirituality, coaching, yoga, travel, business, and like a lot of things. I want to run retreats one day as well. So I thought I don't want to get out of one box and then put myself into another box. So, if let's say I thought of doing something online so that I could have the freedom and flexibility so that I could be my own boss. But if I just do Reiki, then all my content has to be about Reiki and spirituality and energy healing only. But obviously, I didn't want that. And so I just kept like asking myself, and then I was just really open to any possibilities. One day, I came across this girl on Instagram who was living the life that I envisioned for myself. So she was thriving, she was vibrant, she was helping people to get healthier and happier and become the most inspired version of themselves through whole food nutrition. And she was part of a community of like-minded women who were also thriving in their own ways. And so I was so curious, and she was also traveling around the world doing what she was doing as well, and she loved what she was doing. So I again reached out to her and then got very curious about what she was doing. And after hearing what she shared about what she was doing with her business and how I could be part of it, I think just a week after that, I said yes. I said yes to something that was really out of my comfort zone, and something that was really unknown as well. But a part of me was really excited for it. So I guess back to the question that you had for me, it wasn't a path straightforward to what I wanted to have or to be on to reach my dream life or to create my dream life. I was just really open to any possibilities, and I took inspired actions. I took the little steps, even though, sometimes it felt really unfamiliar, it felt scary, but I guess, my why is way bigger than my fear. And that's got me to where I am today.
That's great. That's also a great message. Like your why is bigger than your fear. That's wonderful. Um, for me, it was very similar actually.
Hmm.
Like I started so early on just filming videos, even just for myself, because it was like when I was 9 or 10, I started doing that. Just in my room, just these girly makeup tutorials that were very trendy at that time on YouTube. And obviously, I wasn't allowed to upload them because I was so young. And I still continued to film these just for myself. So I learned to be comfortable in front of a camera very early on. And I also learned how to use light and, how to make my looks look enhanced on camera because it's obviously a different thing if you're in front of a person, like in person, or if you're in front of a camera. So
How old
since
did you start filming?
I just enjoyed it, I don't really know, like, no, that's not true. I didn't think about it. Um, the point is I started watching YouTube, obviously, the
Mm.
second I got a phone, right? Um,
Mm.
and I was just inspired by all these people having a message, and being heard and being seen. And since I had a childhood where I wasn't seen by the people who were closest to me, I was like, I want to do that too. And then it was that path of coming back to the previous question. It was a path of having a vision for myself, who I want to be and who I truly am, and then embodying this version of myself, like step by step. And it took me like many years because the second I reached what I thought was my highest self, I realized there's something better I can be. And then obviously I wanted to enhance that and I wanted to evolve because there, again, as you said, I didn't want to be put in a box. So I was like, okay, cool. I see new opportunities. I see who I can be. So I'm gonna get there. Um, so my mindset is also if I want something and I want it, you know, a lot, I want it enough, I put in the effort and take the aligned and inspired action to get that. So I always know if I want it, I'll get it. But filming videos was always a big part of me. So I started back then on Musical.ly when it was not TikTok yet, and actually uploaded videos. And over the course of the years, I had, I think, two TikTok accounts because what also makes my business work the way I do right now is that the second I realize something doesn't work with me, something doesn't work for my business or my audience, or that isn't aligned anymore with me, I just stop doing that immediately and I try something new. So it was a lot of like overcoming this fear of letting go of things, and not getting too attached to a certain business model, for example, and just instead actually freeing myself from this limiting belief of I have to be put in a box. I have to keep doing what I started to do.
Mm.
So it was like I literally tried out every possible like YouTube channel or TikTok account or whatever that's somehow existing, like the big areas of that. So I tried Let's Plays. Like I filmed videos of me playing a game and well talking about it. And then I had an ASMR channel in 2021, which was also the inspiration for why I started this again because I realized now it's aligned again. Now I like doing this again. Um, I also talked about my books, which I now implement into this channel too. Because there are so many things that I stopped doing because it didn't work the way I did them back then, but they now work again in a different way. First and foremost, because I'm different now and I do things differently and I'm way more confident in what I do. And especially because I'm not scared of the opinion of others anymore. But it was a whole lot of like trial and error and letting go of things and trying again until I found
Mm,
what was right for me. And then, especially with what I do today, especially when it comes to the energy alignment sessions and energy readings, and also publishing my books. Um, that was just a calling. Well, if I say just a calling, so I didn't have the logical explanation to why I should do this right now. I just felt this calling and I couldn't ignore it. Like the second I get a call from the universe, I'm like, okay, I'm locked in, I'm gonna do this. And I just do it. So that was the same thing with this YouTube channel and with this podcast, also with every single book I published, and every single book I will publish. And yeah, just in general, like everything I do, it's just an impulse I get, and I just follow that.
love
So
that.
it's a lot of trust. It's a lot of trust.
Yeah. And I love when you mentioned that there are a lot of trials and errors, and you let go of everything that didn't work and then allowed, new things, new impulses to come. And then you took aligned and inspired actions. And I guess that's all it is about. Because sometimes people think that they have to wait for the perfect moment, they have to wait for the perfect time, or they have to wait until they become perfect to do something. But that's not how it works. You just gotta keep trying, just keep doing things until you find something that works for you.
Yeah, yeah, right. Let's get into the next question, which is actually my favorite question for this episode. What's an advice you got from someone else on your journey that gave you a new perspective of what you do or how you do it?
Hmm. I think I didn't mention I'm part of a network marketing company, and I do have different mentors that I work with from time to time. But this one mentor once told me this sentence, and it just stuck with me. She told me, if you're not doing something that scares you every day, you're dying.
Wow.
It means you're not growing. And I was like, so back to the time when we had that conversation. So part of what we do is that we inspire other people with our health journey so that, they can be on the journey with us. And within the network marketing business, we are encouraged to be ourselves, to be our authentic selves, and to show up. Like if you choose to do this business online, offline, it's always good to show up, even when you're messy, even when you are uncertain, even when you don't look perfect all the time. And for me, I'm such an introvert. Like I'm super introverted. And so that's why I mentioned before that I said yes to something that was really out of my comfort zone, because I knew when I got into this space, I had to do things that I would never do if I was in a traditional business, which means I have to show up online. I have to talk to the camera, which I like was terrified for. before got into this business. I have to show the world parts of me that I have been hiding for a long time. And so one day she encouraged me to jump on a live, which I was so scared. I was so nervous. Like I knew I had a message to share. I knew I had a mission and a vision to share with my audience, but something within me like just froze every time I got in onto a camera. Like I got way better now because I've been doing it for a while now. But with my first live, every single thing within my body just shut down. I froze. I couldn't think straight. I had to have like the scripts on my screen to read through because I just couldn't remember anything. And so I was voice messaging her, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I'm so nervous. I can't speak. Um, I forget everything. Like, please tell me something. Um, and she was like, you got this. My only advice for you, even in this business or in any other business that you'll be doing later on in your life, is that if you don't do something that scares you every day, you're dying. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna jump on the live right now because I don't want to stop growing, you know? And also once you got over that fear, you want to do more of it. And that's what happened to me after that first live. Like I felt like I could deliver the divine message that I was meant to deliver to the world at that time. And I wanted more after that. And so that was the best, I think, live advice and also business advice that I've ever received from my mentor.
Yeah, wow. Wow. I got like goosebumps all over when you talked about that. Wow. I think I'm gonna keep this an advice for me too. That's
Mm,
really good. And it just immediately reminded me of when I wrote the first book I ever published, that was like very, very close to the first book I ever finished, but I never published that one. Um, so during that time, I was part of a Discord community for like authors, writers, artists, gamers. Like it was all over the place, but it somehow matched together. Um, and there were so many people in there, like talking all the time. And I just remember when I got into this, I think it was the end of 2021. So how old was I? I was 17. Wow, I was still 17. So, I got into the first ever Discord call in a group I didn't know. Um, and it was a reading night. Like they had an event every 2 weeks where we would share what we wrote and parts of our books or stories or whatever we just wrote ourselves. So you could tell the Discord mods beforehand that you want to read something and then send them the story and they would approve it and then you could read. So that's what I did after going there for like 2 or 3 weeks because at some point I was like, I'm scared. Like reading in front of an audience is not that big of a problem for me, but reading in front of an audience that I didn't know back then was a big problem for me. So I did it anyways. And since then, I started writing my book every single week, well, every single day, simply because I had the time. Um, and I would read in front of those people every 2 weeks. And basically, I read what I wrote in the previous 2 weeks. And it was, first of all, a lot of fun And second of all, there were so many lessons that I learned in that time, and also so many people I got to know. So at some point, it was again all a thing of seeing opportunities and taking them when they come to you. So there was one girl, and we were just joking around, like she was like, "Well, I'm online all the time, and people have real jobs and that." Um, and somehow it led to me reaching out to her, and I was like, "Well, I also have a lot of time, and I also just write all the time. Maybe we should write together at some point." And then we talked for a while and became friends at that time. And then I also reached out to the Discord mods because I was kind of terrified of of their um like the power they held at that time. Because I mean, I was 17. To me, that was a person that I respected a lot. Um, because you know they uh, had power of the whole server. So I wanted to make everything right and like, you know, just be nice there, which I obviously was. But then at some point I reached out to them, even though um, they felt like somehow like an authority to me. Um, but I liked them and I wanted to befriend them. So I reached out to them and they were like, well, of course I want to write with you. So at some point we were a small group of writing people and we would meet every other day. And then at some point, because this whole Discord server was led by my childhood idol, my childhood idol, so back then I used to put people on a pedestal who just achieved more than I achieved back then. I think that's a normal mechanism, especially for younger people. Um, so for me, it was like I looked up to her, like absolutely, you know. Um, and then actually I got in a call with her because I started working as a mod in that same Discord server too. Um, And at some point, I talked to her personally because we also got to know more about each other. And I already have realized at that time that it's not as scary to reach out to new people. Um,
Yeah.
and then she taught me the one thing that changed my life forever for the best, especially when it comes to my business and taking opportunities. Because she told me, you know, those people are just people, right? We're all just human. So
Mm,
if I ever looked up to someone ever again, I was like, and I was scared to reach out to them because like I wanted to take an opportunity or um, reach out to people for certain things. I said to myself, it's just a human. They're the same as me. They might have more experience in a certain field, or they're might be older than I am, but that doesn't stop me from reaching out to them. So the first thing I did was literally taking the phone and doing what I feel like most people don't do if they publish a book. I called the book publisher and I called one of the biggest book publishers in Germany back then. I think it's still one of the biggest. And I actually got the email address of, well, the leader of this whole um, book publisher. And I was so proud of myself. And I got like personal feedback immediately from them, where other people wait up to 6 months to hear back from them, if even. So that was one of the milestones where I was like, that's great. You know, that feels so good to reach out to people and not be afraid of it because so many opportunities open up through people and through reaching out to people. So it's just great to be able to make this happen. So yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely
I
the
love
one advice that changed my life.
I love that. Also, to continue with the advice that you got, the same mentor who gave me that advice that I just, told you, she said something similar to what you received. She said, because I used to compliment on her a lot, and she told me, what you see in me, it's already within you.
Wow.
So instead of seeing instead of seeing it something that you are admiring or um jealous of, I would say, like use it as a reminder that you see in others what it's already within you. So if you see, like beautiful traits of someone else, it means that you already have it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, that
Yeah.
that's changing my work perspective right now, just hearing it.
Yeah. So, if you see anything that you admire from someone else, it means that you already have those qualities within you. Maybe you just need to remember them or activate them or just claim them.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that makes me think of like the term of jealousy in general, because I feel like
Mm.
so many people have actually jealousy issues because they aren't able to just be happy for other people achieving something.
Mm.
And I feel like that's also a normal thing, especially with younger people, if you still have to learn this. Um, but the older you get, or the older I got, I realized if I feel that feeling of being jealous, I realize that's actually just me seeing the potential of me having that too, or achieving that too. And for some reason, I stopped myself from having that because I could. And I feel
Mm.
like that's where jealousy comes from. So just taking that as an impulse again to take action towards that because it just points out what you want and what you could have.
And what's possible for you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, oh yeah. What's speaking of what's possible for you, how do you define success for yourself and what was your way of figuring this out?
It changes a lot. I think when I first started my online business, I used to put other people on the pedestal and um, take their version of success and put it onto mine, thinking that I needed to be that person to achieve that goal, to create that amount of money in order to be successful. But then the more again, it's all about like trial and error as well. I got into the business. I did all the things that my mentors told me to do, all the steps, the structure. I got the result. I got the clients. I got the teams that I wanted to work with. But then it was based on someone else's version of success. And so even though I got the result, but I didn't feel good myself, like I didn't feel good within because to me, my version of success right now is that I get to wake up with my slow mornings, no alarms. I get to design my days. I get to choose how many hours I want to do or work on my business today and how I want to prioritize my health and my family while like building up my dream life. I used to think that success meant that you had to show up consistently with in your business. You had to sacrifice your health. You had to follow like other people's blueprint because they have gone before you, right? So maybe they knew better, so you better listen to them. Um, but no, that's so different right now. For me, it's waking up in great health with the peace of mind, with the flexibility and freedom to travel to wherever I want to, with the people that I love, and being able to be of service to the world. That's how I define success now.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like it's especially when you just started your business, it's that most people think I have to make X amount of money to be successful, or I have to hold so much power, or have a community that's so and so big, like all these. Well, it's a number game basically. Um,
Mm.
but the second I got out of that by changing my mindset from also believing in that to I want to go my own path and I want to be able to follow this calling that I feel from the universe and just do what I feel
Mm.
called to do. Um, I feel like that was the moment when my definition of success changed to I want to be able to work when I want to and do what I want to whenever I want to and just have the freedom of being literally anywhere in the world anytime and just be healthy, be in tune with myself, feel good, like enhancing my energy. So also like my aura, just what other people perceive of um how I feel, not just like in a physical sense, but like in energy sense. Um yeah, and obviously like the freedom that comes with all the numbers, because in general to me it's like it's not the money we want. Even though I have to say I do like money because I know what you can do with it. Because
Mm.
so many people say money can buy happiness. Well, I can buy a book and a book makes me happy. So
It's
yeah,
still a tool. Like you still need money to function in this world.
yeah, yeah. I feel like money also unlocks that flexibility of, again, being able to say no to something that doesn't serve you anymore or that doesn't align with you anymore, and saying yes to the things that you actually want to do and that you feel called to do. Yeah.
That.
I feel like seeing, now we're talking about money, but I love talking about money. Um, so. It's like seeing money as a tool and not put it on a pedestal. It's something that you can use to achieve something with.
Mm.
Um,
Did
yeah,
you have to like work a lot on your money mindset growing
oh
up, or
yes.
have you been having like an abundant money mindset?
Well, no, I grew up in a family who's like very standard money mindset users, I would say. So I got taught that you have to work hard to make a lot of money and you have to have this safety and a safety net. And like, it was all about being part of the system that was built around money. And at some point, I was like, you know what? I'm just feeling burnt out the entire time doing this. I felt like my energy was so low. I slept so much. And I wasn't creative anymore at some point. Like, me, not creative. So that was the point where I realized, okay, I have to change something now. Definitely, it's on me. And yeah, I just, started my first business. And that was while I was still in an apprenticeship because I realized if I don't start my business while being in the apprenticeship, I would leave the apprenticeship after the 3 years of being in it without any job. That safety wouldn't be there. And
Mm.
I realized the more I came to the end of those 3 years that it's either my business and what I feel called is right for me, um, or it's going to be someone else's business where I have to work again 40 hours, maybe more,
Mm.
just for like a standard salary. And I knew that's not what I want to do. I don't want to exchange my lifetime, which is so precious, um, just for money, just to be able to even sustain life. Because that's to me not how it works. So
I
yeah,
love that. It resonates with me on all levels. Everything that you just shared.
great. So how would you teach another person to find their definition of success in life?
I would say just go for it. Try everything that you never say no to an opportunity, even if it's something that you don't like. And then when you do something that you don't like, it will eventually point you towards the direction that it's meant for you. And um, do something that scares you every day. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's again the game of trial and error. It's like try out, go out, reach out. Um, I know there are many people who think they don't have the gift of reaching out to people, or they're like too locked into their head to be able to do that or to feel able to do that. But just overcoming that and just realizing that you can create opportunities for yourself. You don't just have to see them walking around there, but you can create them. Um, I feel like that's important. And again, everyone has their own definition for success in life and a successful and free and happy life. So I feel like it's a lot about trusting your intuition and learning to listen to that and act accordingly. Because what I learned, especially on that holistic wellness, holistic health journey, it's so much about realizing that my body and my mind and my soul is different to everybody else's. So there's not one truth to everything, and that goes for everyone, but it's my truth that goes for me. So I can take advice if I resonate with it. That's why I keep saying in my energy readings, like take it as it resonates and leave the rest. That's also something my mom told me very early on. She was like, I'm your mother. I'm an authority person and you have to respect me. But I'm also a teacher. So I try to teach you from what I've learned in my life so you don't make the same mistakes or you have it just easier in general. I feel like that's what most parents try to do to give their kids something that they didn't have in their childhood. Um,
Mm.
so my mom was like, I'm gonna serve all of this on like a silver plate. And this is advice you can take, but you don't have to take. And guess what? Most of the times I took the advice because it got served to me and I got to choose from it. I didn't have to just follow the rules or be who she wanted me to be. No, I was allowed to be free and I was allowed to form myself and find myself, especially from very early age on. So that's something I'm incredibly grateful for and something I can just encourage everyone else to learn. It's like just listen to your intuition. It'll tell you literally everything you are and everything that's right for you.
That's so beautiful. And yeah, another advice that I would give to continue to what you just said is what do not compare your journey to anyone else.
Yes.
I was that person who constantly compared myself to other people's journey and timelines and success. And I realized that when you wish for someone's version of success or like someone else's life, you also wish for their karma, for
Hmm.
their trauma, for their wounds, for their hardships. You just don't see it because everyone wants to show you what they want you to see, right?
Yes, yes.
And so when you wish for someone else's life, you wish for everything else that comes along with it. But maybe within your timeline, within your own path, you don't have to go through hardships at all. So just, if you don't know what your purpose in life is, don't rush it. Don't rush to figure it out overnight. Just sit with yourself, be really honest with yourself. What what lights you up? If you can choose anything to do in the world, what would you want to do? How would you want to serve other people? How do you want to design your days? What kind of people you want to surround yourself with? how many hours do you want to work per day? Do you want to earn a lot of money? Or do you want to earn a lot of money but peaceful? And have free time to be with your family. Because there are so many ways of back to the money topic again. It's the same conversation that I had with my mum earlier today. Everyone wants to find ways to make more money, right? But what they're missing is that, like, how do you want to make money? Do you want to make a lot of money, but you're burnt out? Or do you want to make a lot of money, but you're at peace with yourself? You do something meaningful to the world. You Do you want to work hard for money, or do you want to work less but have more impact because they would point you towards the different directions based on your values and your qualities. Yeah, so I would highly encourage you, if you know, those who are listening, to sit down with yourself and get really honest with what is it that you want. And it doesn't have to be fixated, because we're all growing and evolving, right? So go back to your like value list or your why, and then update it if you think that it's no longer serving you.
This is beautiful. That's beautiful advice. And speaking of the karma, what you said, if you want the success of someone else or like the life of someone else, and you take on their karma too. I feel like especially on the internet, on social media, everyone just wants you to see like the bright side of everything, the luxurious life, the fancy houses and the travels and all of that. But what you don't see is how they got there. And I was just taking a mental note at that point because I was like, there's to me a difference between hardship and hardship. Because what I learned is there can be challenges on your way, even if it's like the easy path for you, even if it's the right thing for you to do, you can still feel anxious or feel like it's hard.
Mm.
But if it's on your path, it's still gonna be easier. Like the hardest hardship you do on your path is still gonna be easier than the hardest hardship you would do on anybody else's path because your path is meant for you.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just keeps flowing.
that makes a lot of sense.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I feel like I talked about this with my mom yesterday. It's like on the internet, you guys just see like the bright side of me and like obviously my highest self and all of that, which I worked for intensely for years and years. Like I did not used to be this version of myself for most part of my life. I mean, I'm 20 now, turning 21. I'm still very young. Um, so in comparison to how I am right now and how easy my life is right now because I learned all the lessons. I had to go through so many lessons in a very quick amount of time, because from the moment on that I realized what life I want to live and who I am, I had to cut out people, I had to cut out friends, family, I had to say no to jobs that I could have had in order to pursue this career. I had to overcome so much self-doubt and anxiety and all of these things that would just hold me back from pursuing this. And I feel like the hardest part of it was honestly getting out of my own way because
Mm.
sometimes there are things you have to do in order to get to where you want to go, but you just don't do it. Sometimes actually just because we're lazy, that's I feel like that's somehow in our human beings. We want to be comfortable, we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. But just getting out of your way because you know it's right to do this, even if it doesn't feel comfortable, but you know it's right. Oh my God, that was the hardest life lesson I had to learn.
That's powerful. You just
Mhm.
get out of your own way. That's it. Like you are the only person who are stopping you from getting to where you are to where you want to be. Nothing else.
Yes.
It's always you versus you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now I have to share this one. Because speaking of this, it's you versus you. Um, I'm that type of person who, well, I create success and then I achieve it. Like I have a vision for myself and then I just go for it and I achieve it. And the second I have it, well, I had to learn to acknowledge my success and not just get into the next thing that I wanted. Um, but that one sentence helped me um, reflect on what I achieved already so much because it is just look at yourself from 1 year ago. Would you like to change lives with her or not? And I was like, definitely not. So that just that just keeps the embodiment of success growing for me.
I love that.
So the next question is, actually speaking of hardship, what's the hardship that you've experienced or that you've overcome because of your decision to live a free life to your standards?
A lot. And I think one of them is self-doubt because when you choose a freedom-based lifestyle, nothing is guaranteed, right? Your income, your clients, um, you don't have anyone to back you up or to like you have to be everything and everything for yourself. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be leading yourself. You have to be your number one supporter. And how I learned to overcome that is every time I every time self-doubt comes up, I would take a break from everything that I'm doing, including work, including replying to people in my inbox, just everything. And I either go on a trip or just sit in silence or in meditation and really anchor back to my why. Why did I start this journey? Why did I start this business in the first place? Why did I choose this company to partner with? Why did I choose this community to be a part of? Who are the people that will be affected if I give up right now? Because when I worked on my why, my family was involved a lot. And so when I sit down with myself and work on my why again, and if more if more people how do I say this? Like it's not just about myself. I'm not doing this just for myself or for my own benefits. My family will live a much better life, a much happier life if I continue with my journey. And it's not just my family, the people that I'm meant to inspire or lead, they are already out there waiting for me to show up. So it would be so selfish of me if I have learned something for myself, but then I keep it just because I think that I'm not good enough, or if I think that there are people out there that are judging what I'm doing right now. To me, it's a disservice and it's selfish because I'm not meant to be everyone's cup of tea, and it's okay. And I had to learn to be disliked by a few to lead the many or to inspire the many. And I've learned that mindset a lot within my business, because we do have like mentoring and training almost every weekly. And yeah, I just go back to my why. Why did I start? Why did I leave what I was doing before? Was it painful? Would I choose my old life again? Or for example, I want a freedom-based lifestyle, right? If I would sit down and maybe like visualize or give myself like five other options and then just weigh them out and then see which option works best for me at this very moment. And I just meditate a lot as well. I do meditate twice a day. And every time I feel like I'm stuck, I would ask for guidance from my angels, from my spirit guides, from my dad. And yeah, that's how I usually do to get myself out of the rut and then get going again.
That's very beautiful. That was also very inspiring to hear. Um, so I feel like the hardest hardship, I also started talking about this in a previous question, was that letting go of things that don't serve my life's purpose anymore. And it's not just things, it's not just the clutter that I've collected over, well, years of growing up. It's also just, as I said, like people and situations, and just leave everything and anyone who doesn't serve my life purpose anymore, or who's even trying to block that. Um, and I feel like what completely shifted my perspective when it comes to that is when I realized that even if it feels like a loss for me because I loved these things or these people, or I felt good in this situation. So even though it feels like a loss, in reality, it's a win for me because everything that we let go of that isn't of service for who we want to become is creating space for something better and for something healthier for us to enter our life. And the second I realized that, um, I don't have any issues anymore with letting go or even the law of detachment. I just currently, well, recently filmed a video about that because I got into a new mindset of what it actually means because like we hear the laws of the universe and we're like, well, of course, that's a law, that works. But like, how does it work? How do I actually use that, And then realizing it's not about the detachment as in I don't care about anything or anyone. It's more about you can care about something or someone and want something, um, but you don't have to need it because you know that you are self-sufficient, you are sustainable. Your life is still going to be the same with or without this person, with or without this job, with or without anything, Like your life is still the same. And then just coming down to like the basic needs, what you actually need in life is food, is a shelter, it's clothes, um, it's water and human
Mm.
connections, because we're social beings. And
Mm.
that's all you actually need. And everything that you want on top of that is a want, but not a need. So you put everything off the pedestal. It's like the pedestals are gone, you know. So you can actually attract it instead of just chasing it, you know, chasing success or a person or whatever, you know. So I feel like that hardship made my life a lot easier in the long term because learning to let go of you know, everything that doesn't serve anymore, it's just very freeing, you know. Um,
Mm.
it's also crazy because I wanted to talk about this for quite a while, but I haven't done it yet. Um, but that was also in 2023, the year where I learned about the nervous system regulation and like actual meditation and stepping into my purpose, reaching out to people, all of these things, you know, that all happened in 2023 for me. Um, so I was in my own flat back then, and I started live streaming. I started actively writing my books and publishing them, and you know, getting all of this in order to actually get out with my message in the world. Um, and that's when I stumbled across that mindset of everything that you let go of creates space for something better, something you actually want. So I started getting into minimalism and um, what's the other word? It's like everything you just need to exist, you know, like you have such few things, like physical things in your life that you can it's kind of like creating a blank canvas. And at that point I just turned 19. So it was like in my head, that was a special year for me because it was like the last year of being a teenager. So I was like, okay, I want once in my life to have a complete blank canvas in my life. I want to start over everything. I got rid of everything I owned in that year. I sold everything, and I owned like physically nothing. But that was the moment where I realized who I was without identifying with objects, you know, with anything I owned. Because I realized I am someone without owning any status symbol or like anything. And then I started building from zero, you know, and I realized that most of the things I was emotionally attached to, you know, again, love detachment, um, I had such an emotional attachment to so many things that I never looked at, never used, so many memories that I thought were precious to me, but I realized the memories are within me, you know. I have experienced that, and I don't need things to remind me of them. So
Wow.
it's like, I know that's not for everyone, and I also wouldn't give the advice for everyone to try this. But for me, it was a life experience that was crucial to becoming who I am and like stripping free from everything that's not me. So
Mm.
that I feel like that was the birthing hour of me becoming really me.
Mm. Wow. Speaking of letting go of things, I think it's a key factor that a lot of laws talk about, like even the law of attraction or the law of assumption or even manifestation. And if we understand that everything is energy, right? And you like attracts like, and let's say if we vibrate at a frequency of abundance and wholeness and complete and peace and happiness, you wouldn't want anything else because you're already whole within yourself. And by letting go means that you know that you're already whole within, that you know that you have everything within you, and you trust that everything it's supposed to be yours will come your way, or to come back to you, or to come to you without you having to hold on to it. Because I was that person who used to hang on to so many things, people, and I'm a Scorpio. So sometimes um my desire for truth and for authenticity, it's too intense. It sometimes it appears as controlling. But then when I learned about the law of detachment and how to let go of things and not wanting anything in order to have everything, that's when my life shifted as well. Because, like, let's say if you already have the partner that you want, if you already have the house that you want, if you already have the income that you want, you wouldn't think that you want it anymore because you already have it. It's more about what you do and who you are as a person who can maintain it. And again, it's all about embodiment. And you talked about embodiment a little bit before as well. It's not the things or the person or the place that we want, it's who we are or who we become in the process of having those things and people and yeah, circumstances.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. So, speaking of trust, the next question would be how do you deal with self-doubt? And you already went into that a bit. So I would say for me, the opposite of doubt and anxiety and like all these like negative emotions that would stop you from going out there and pursuing your dreams. The opposite of all of that is trust. So
Mm,
like as you said, coming back to your why, it's like trusting in your why, trusting that it is worthy of being pursued. Um, and especially trusting in yourself. Because I feel like so many people hear their intuition, but they either never learn to actually understand it, like what it's trying to tell you. Because it's like such a small, very short feeling that you get. It's just like that gut feeling that tells you within a microsecond if something's right or wrong for you. And you have to be very in tune with it to like listen to it very clearly. And I feel like so many people say it's like a voice. It's not a voice. Like you don't hear a voice in your head, you know? It's like it's a feeling. It's a feeling that tells you if something's good for you or not. And like trusting that feeling, like learning to hear it and then understanding it and then trusting it. That's like a three-step process, you know? And then actually taking action based on that, that's like a fourth step, you know? So um
mm,
I'm not judging anyone who's like on their path of figuring out this whole intuition game because it's a long time game you play, you know. So it's like everyone's on their own path and we all make mistakes and learn from them. Um, but again, I feel like if you're struggling with self-doubt, it's like rooting in yourself and having an anchor within yourself that you know whatever life throws at you, I'm gonna get through it, you know? Like feel like coming back to that anchor and as you said like with meditation I think it's incredible that you meditate twice a day like I meditate once a day for about 20 minutes um so just making the time and the space to reconnect with yourself throughout the day is so important um and I feel like that's a really good way, you know, just I mean me saying just trust yourself, but like how, you know? And I feel meditation is a very good way to do that, just sitting in stillness and feeling your feelings and emotions and like feeling what they're supposed to tell you and what you're supposed to do. And again, what's right, what's wrong for you. And then acting according to that because the more you act based on your intuition, the more you will see that you are right in how you feel about things. And that again is like logical proof in your brain that your intuition works and that this whole manifestation thing and spirituality is actually based on like um, well, it's logically explainable. So it's not a woo-woo thing as so many claim it is, simply because there are also many things, there are also many people who understood how it works, but they don't explain it in a way that other people can logically understand. I feel like the logical mind as a thing is a beautiful thing, right? But it's also a thing that keeps holding us back because we got out of trust and into thinking, like, do I think it's right to do this? Well, it's not about thinking if something's right. It's about alignment, it's about embodiment, it's feeling that it's right in both your intuition and if your logical mind is also saying, yes, that's great, then that's great. But in the end, the logical mind, from my perspective, is that you already have embodied the trust that it all makes sense and you just trust that. So you don't have to ask your logical mind, does that make sense anymore?
Mm, yeah, that's beautiful. And also I believe that with intuition, the calling will keep calling until you listen. So let's say you like for example with my own experience, right? Right? I knew I wanted to do something with Reiki and holistic health back in 2020, but I listened to other people's definition of truth and success and what's right to do, and I followed their validation and ways of thinking, but then something within me was still like drawing me back to holistic health and energy healing and Reiki, even if I went out to do 10 other jobs or different things to suppress that inner wisdom within me, the calling is still there until I answer that calling. And so, yeah, it's so important to do something every day, like, for example, meditation or journaling, or even just sit down with yourself in silence for 10 to 15 minutes every morning. That's a perfect time for you to get in tune with your higher self and to your intuition to and just let it guide you. Because I know a lot of people, especially with, society nowadays, they glamorize the hustle culture. If you don't hustle enough, if you don't work hard enough, you're lazy, you are procrastinating, you are behind, you are delaying your dreams and everything. But, busyness for me, it doesn't resonate with me. Um, for me, I always feel like the slower I go, the better I make decisions and choices, because I make decisions and choices not based on um or my worthiness isn't tied into my productivity. It's tied to the uniqueness of the blueprint that my soul already has for me. So
Yeah,
yeah, intuition it's important, and um just do something every day, any time within the day. Let's say, because a lot of people don't have a lot of time in the morning to sit with themselves or to meditate, but I mean, we all have 24 hours a day, right? And if you know that taking out 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the day to sit with yourself can help you to um, get to the life that you want a lot faster or a lot easier, then it's worth it.
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, coming to the last question for this podcast episode. What's one advice you want to give future generations, or one advice you'd love to give your past self?
Hmm. An advice for my past self first. is that do not afraid. Do not afraid to make mistakes. Do not afraid to love deeply. Do not afraid to be your true self. Do not afraid to be judged. Um, do not afraid to try different things. And an advice for what was the first one again?
An advice that you want to give to future generations.
For future generation. Anything that you want to create for your dream life, for your life, is possible, even with your wildest dream. Um, every single possible outcome or the reality of the life that you want already exists in the multiverse. Maybe this concept it's a little bit out there, but like everything that you want already exists. You just need to become a version of yourself who are ready to walk through that door or to align with the things that you want. So anything is possible. Do not afraid. Go for it. Do not afraid to make mistakes because the more mistakes that you make, the more you realize or the more that they will teach you where you're supposed to go or who you're supposed to be or what you're meant to do.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. I definitely resonate with that. Um, there's so many things that, like so many messages that are important, for me personally. I feel like one advice, from my past self would be trust yourself and
Mm,
trust that your intuition is right. So if it's telling you that something's off, something's wrong, it is. And
mm,
if on the other hand it tells you that something's right for you and you have the ability to achieve it and to live this vision, go for it. Don't hesitate because I feel like hesitation is such a toxin in life that, again, it's like using the logical mind you can use it in a powerful way, but if it stops you from taking immediate action, like you see an opportunity, it's like, for example, a person and you feel so drawn towards that person for no logical reason at all. Um, and you stop and hesitate because you think about it. It's like just go for it, like you'll find out what this means. The second you go for it and you ask that person, like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing here? Or like, um, and sometimes like, the funniest conversation happen, um, because I just follow my intuition and I just reach out to people. And again, it's like that detachment. I'm like, I don't need you to interact with me. I don't need validation. But for some reason, I feel attracted to you right now. And I feel like it's important that we talk for some reason and we'll just find this out. Um, so just trust and take immediate action the second you get an intuitive impulse to do something. Don't let chances or opportunities pass you by just because you keep overthinking it. And then one advice for future generations is probably the one thing I'll preach until I don't do this job anymore. It's genuinely learn to listen to your intuition, learn to understand it. Um, and yeah, take action, because
mm,
I always like to see it as like a compass in life or even as a magnet because you are attracted to certain things or people for a certain reason, and I just discovered that, especially with the EFT tapping, like reprogramming my mindset, especially from childhood and like earlier youth. Um, I realized that some things we are naturally attracted to because that's part of our path, and we're attracted to other things. Like, for example, if you have like issues with attracting the same type of partner in your life, and it never works out because it's like a toxic pattern or something repeating. You can change that. You can change that you're not attracted to this anymore by reprogramming your mind. So it's kind of like your intuition is like a magnet for things. So you attract certain things because of the energy you put out there. And at the same time, you are attracted to certain things because of the energy that, you are attracted to. And then, yeah, just listening to that and finding out like what's really me, what's my intuition, and what's something that got programmed into me thinking it's me. Yeah, I think that's very powerful.
So, so powerful.
Okay, so we reached the end of this episode. Thank you so, so much for being here and sharing this insight and your personal experience with all of this, with the community, with the audience. And thank you for listening and being here. I'm really grateful.
Thank you for having me here. I really hope that our conversation inspires someone out there, So if you're listening and our stories or our insights resonate with any part of you, please let us know. We would love to hear from you if it resonates with you or if you're also on the same journey. So yeah, thank you. And I look forward to being on your podcast again in the future.
Definitely. I already planned a couple more episodes, so you're definitely gonna be here again.
Love it. I love it. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I'm going to see you guys in the next episode. Bye.